I'm Hugh Hewitt broadcasting from Studio North this morning and pleased to welcome for the first time to the Hugh Hewitt Show, Governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice. Governor Justice, welcome. Great to have you on the show.
Oh, Hugh, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, I was a little bit worried because a lot of you West Virginians are Steelers fans. I'm from Warren, Ohio, and I'm a Browns fan. I don't let any Steelers fans on, but then I read your bio. You're a Saints fan. How did that happen?
Well, I got to be really close friends with Sean Payton. I think the world of him and everything. Wish him great success with the Denver Broncos. But a good man, and we enjoyed our time, together, and I hope we have a whole lot more together. But Hugh, I got to tell you this and everything. But of course, our family owns the Greenbrier Hotel and everything. But the Browns are coming, to the Greenbrier Hotel for I think 10 days here, not too long, and so. And I grew up, believe it or not, I grew up a Browns fan, all through and through. So
bonus. That's a bonus. I didn't know that Kevin Stefanski's taking him down there. They got to train early because they're playing in the Hall of Fame game this year against the Jets. But they're going to the Greenbrier, my father's favorite hotel in the world. He's gone to be with the Lord. But I'm telling you, the Greenbrier, I didn't know you owned the Greenbrier either. You're kind of an amazing guy. Why do you want to go to the Senate? It's going to drive you crazy.
Well, there's no doubt it'll probably drive me crazy to some degree, and there's no thing that I just adore about Washington D.C. But with all that being said, Hugh, my dad would always say over and over, if you know, son, and the good Lord knows, that's all that really matters. And really, at the end of the day, Hugh, the reason is one thing and one thing only. I'm a patriot. I am genuinely, really, really worried about this country and the path that we're going on. I mean, we are about to completely implode, and there's no guarantee that we're invincible. And if we don't take the Senate back in 2024, we don't have hardly any chance in 26, 28. And I don't know that the country will survive beyond that. And so
now,
it's time to step up.
I'm pretty sure you get along with Joe Manchin, but Joe Manchin's been part of the problem. Do you get along with him, and what are you talking to him about? Because you're going to beat him like a drum. I mean, you're going to win by 10 to 15%.
Well, I do get along with Joe, and Joe's got a lot of charisma, and he's got a lot of political power in West Virginia, and that's what's enabled Joe to survive. But I would tell Joe this if he was sitting right here. The difference in me and Joe and a lot of people is I don't want anything. Joe always seems to want something. And so with all that being said, and he has a track record of always migrating back to the Democratic Party, at the last minute, I'm not going to play games with people. I don't do that, Hugh. I just tell people the truth. I don't blow smoke at anybody. And I will beat Joe Manchin if he decides to run. But I think what Joe Manchin will do is try to run for president on the independent side. And I don't think that will really go very far. But I think, if I'm in the race, I think there's a likelihood that Joe will not run. But at the same time, if whatever happens, I get run over by a car tomorrow and everything, and my opponent is the nominee, Joe Manchin will run for sure. And against Alex Mooney, he would beat Alex Mooney to death. So if we got a real shot, and that's why I'm doing this.
I don't often get involved before a primary, but I am involved here. I want Republicans in West Virginia, and they listen, to vote for Governor Justice because he's a winner, and we'll get it done. Governor, I did not know that you were a farmer. I knew you had mines. I didn't know you were a farmer, and I didn't know you owned the Greenbrier. What in the world does an executive who's been governor for 8 years think the Senate's going to be like? Because I know you know Mitch McConnell, and I know you got friends down there, and you talk with Joe, but it's going to be a nightmare for people who like to get things done.
Well, it could very well be, and I promise you that a long time ago, if I could tell you this real quick, I ran for the Board of Education of all things, and this was decades ago. And I was elected overwhelmingly and everything. And a lot of people said, Jim, business law and business rules, but you don't know school law. and you won't be able to get anything done here and all that. And the same thing with the government. Jim, you know your businesses and what you can do there and you can't do, and you can't do those things in government. Being the governor or whatever. Well, Hugh, I really always believed that my dad would have. I've got to tell you, my dad. I stood in front of my dad's desk one time and said, and I was probably skinny and had brown hair, and I said, Dad, what do you think I could do? And he just leaped forward and grabbed me around my, shirt and slammed me down on the desk. He said, "Damn you! There's always something you can do, and you better damn well always remember that." Well, that's how I live, and really and truly, just because it's tough, just because it's difficult, we've got to figure a way because we're worth it. This country is worth it, and so we got to find a way.
Now, Governor, I think a lot of people are complacent right now about the Chinese Communist Party. And I know that's far removed from state houses, but I talked to Doug Ducey about it. I talked with Mike DeWine about it. I talked with Ron DeSantis about it, Chris Sununu. The governors are kind of onto the fact that the Chinese communists are everywhere and they're eating our lunch. Is that part of the motivation?
Well, sure, sure. Listen, Hugh, the one thing that I won't do, everybody wants to get up on a soapbox and say, look at me, look at me. Well, I'm not about to do that. But I can tell you this, that the display of weakness that we continue to do all across the globe and everything absolutely comes home to roost with us. China is absolutely becoming stronger and stronger every day. And for God's sakes, a living, they're dictating to us. And absolutely, what do? Cow down. It's we should trade together. We should be friends some way, somehow. But for God's sakes, a living, we're the United States of America. We have to be the strongest. We have to absolutely be able to help people throughout the world, but not absolutely babysit everybody throughout the world. But really, when it really boils right down to it, it's a crying shame when you step back and think of the responsibilities of the bad things that have happened, many of them that absolutely lie right with China, and we don't do a thing. We don't do a thing.
So, Governor, let me ask you about the Republican side on the presidential. Last night, Governor DeSantis, one of your colleagues, rolled out his campaign. I think Governor Sununu is going to join. I don't know if you're going to endorse anyone. I'm sure you worked with my buddy Doug Ducey for many years. Does being governor help prepare someone to be president?
It does. It does. Without any question, the strength of being able to make decisions, the strength of absolutely running your own shop or running a store and minding the store in the correct way. There's no question that it does. But from the standpoint of being able to run a business, I don't see how career politicians that have really never had a job, ask ourselves the question, how do they become wealthy? It's the most bizarre thing in the world on the salaries that they're supposed to be paid. Yet, absolutely, being able to have run stuff, from the standpoint of President Trump and all of his businesses, governors and running stuff, their own shop and everything, we should absolutely take notice of that because it's very important.
What is the website, Governor Justice, if people want to contribute to your Senate campaign? By the way, this is the linchpin campaign. This will flip the Senate back to 50-50. Then we got to win in Pennsylvania and Ohio and a couple other places, Montana. But this is ground zero for flipping the Senate. How do people help you?
It's JimJusticeWV.com. And
JimJusticeWV.
JimJusticeWV.com.
So I have one more question, Governor. I'm 67, and I've been watching West Virginia from across the river for a long time. And it used to be you couldn't turn around, you didn't hit 4 Democrats. Now, if you go down there, go to Charleston, you can't turn around without hitting 4 Republicans in every direction. What happened in West Virginia to go from a deep blue state to a deep red state?
Barack Obama. That's exactly what happened. There is no question whatsoever. Now, I would tell you just this, Manchin still has real power in West Virginia as a Democrat. And I can tell you that going back to exactly what we have got to do as Republicans now, we got to take control of the Senate. I mean, if we don't take control of the Senate now, shame on us forevermore. Because if there's any state that we got to have, it's West Virginia. And absolutely, if we can slam dunk West Virginia as Republicans, what we should do then is take the excess dollars and pour them into Montana and Ohio. But absolutely, West Virginians, to me, and I'm so proud of them, it's unbelievable. And I say this very selfishly, but they seem to always be able to get it right. They got it right even in the midterms. You see, West Virginians overwhelmingly in the midterms voted Republican. The reason they did that, they didn't do that for the state candidates. They did that because they were voting against the administration in D.C. They were voting against the Biden administration. And I truly believe that we should have swept all across the board in 2022. What on God's earth happened to us? And so we can't screw this one up now. I mean, that's
no bad candidates. Bad candidates mean you lose elections. You're a good candidate because you've won before. Governor, keep coming back. JimJusticeWV.com. Did I get that right? JimJusticeWV.com.
Got it right, Hugh, and thank you for all you do every day. Thank you so much.
All right.